Hello and welcome everyone to the Friday, June 24th edition of the Contributor Comms group. We are a sub-project of ContribEx, which is part of the Open Source Kubernetes project. And as a reminder, as always, we have a code of conduct, which basically says to be respectful of your fellow participants and speakers, and generally be excellent to each other. And to start off for today, do we have any updates and big wins that folks want to mention? I see that no one has put anything in, so probably not. Cool. We can always come back to them if they come up. So I'll move on to new items. And Josh, I think you have something for us.
Yeah. So the Ingress NGINX community user survey, almost ready. They have one revision to a question and then it'll be ready today. Okay. It's a user survey, so it would be nice to boost it on all channels because we don't have a better way to reach specifically Ingress NGINX users. And they're trying to figure out development priorities. So just wanted to get that on the calendar.
Cool. So we'll want a tweet for that, of course. Do we want like Slackbot stuff? We probably.
I don't know. Only a few channels would be relevant.
Yeah.
So probably just SIG network and Kubernetes users and a couple of others. So it doesn't make sense to use the bot.
I think the bot can actually target specific groups like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're only doing 3 channels.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We haven't historically used announce for surveys, and I'm not likely to start.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so that's it. Just wanted to get it on the calendar for like early next week.
Sounds good.
Couple of other businesses involving surveys, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
We're on that. One is now that I'm co-chair and getting administrative access to our Google Docs, I'm going to see about offering people the alternative of having their survey on Google Docs as opposed to SurveyMonkey. There's some permissions reasons for that, sharing reasons for that, and also one of the main reasons we haven't used Google Docs is that it had to be on somebody's personal Google Docs, which is always a problem when it comes to personal identifying information. And you can't really stop Google Docs from collecting that. So, but if we can have it on a project account, then that's not as much of a problem. Oh, I just blanked out about the other survey thing.
That'll happen this early in the morning.
Yes, sorry, Friday morning. There was something else. Hopefully it'll come to me before the end of the meeting.
Sounds good. I also thought of an updates and big wins thing that we should talk about, which I was going to talk about later, but it makes sense in updates and big wins. One of which is worth mentioning, is that Josh, who has joined us, is a new co-chair of SIG ContribEx. Yay! That's worth everyone knowing. Co-chair.
Yeah, although to make sure everybody saw it, the idea of my stepping up as co-chair is specifically to get us over the hump of electing training some new chairs, because Bob has been chair forever, and for that matter, actually, our tech leads have been with us for a really long time. So everybody is actually looking to rotate out. So if if anybody in this call thinks that they can make a bigger time commitment to SIG contributor experience in the future, there is a call out on our mailing list already by Bob and that sort of thing. We've had a number of people step up who are interested, but we're always interested in hearing from others. Because ultimately, like within a year, we would like to potentially rotate everybody. And that means, you know, positions for at least 2 chairs and 2 tech leads.
Yeah, if someone could find that link for me, I would be very appreciative, and I can put that in our notes. Yeah, so if you're interested in doing that, there's a form that you can sign out to say that you're interested in either the tech lead or the co-chair positions for SIG ContribEx. And they're going to try to do kind of a shadowing thing to get people familiar with the roles. I think there's information in there as well about where to look for role responsibilities, expected commitments, all of that kind of information. ContribEx, chair stuff. And the other thing I wanted to bring up as an important update, which I was going to get to later, but I should really do at the top of the meeting, is that Chris, who you all know and is awesome, and some of you already heard this, but Chris is planning to step away more from our group. He told us this several months ago toward the beginning of the year that he's working on some other projects that he wants to dedicate more of his time to. So he planned to step away from our group a little bit more. So he's going to be in more of like an emeritus advisor role. He's not going away forever, but he'll probably not be on our meetings as much, probably not take on action items, but he'll be there if we need any help and if we have any questions that we want to ask him. So as we go through our table of tasks today, as we get to Chris's items, I want to go over what we're planning to do with them, because I've been working with him over the last 2 weeks, I guess, on what we're going to do with those couple of action items. And it's not much. So I think there's one thing remaining, and I'm probably going to take care of that. So, but we'll go over those details in a little bit. Chris becoming emeritus advisor. That's how we'll say it in the notes. Any questions or comments about the co-chair stuff or Chris moving into an advisor role? I always think of the Hamilton song about George Washington leaving his presidential position and everybody being like, what? Good for us to practice moving on. Oh, something?
I just said I'm going to Google that song because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's good. Cool. All right, so let's move into, we already went over new items, but there's something else. No, oh, I just didn't finish typing. I was typing that there are some issues with permissions and information collection with Google Forms. Is that a good way to say it, Josh? Which is why the Google Docs thing is a thing.
You are on mute, Josh.
Yeah, that's why we need it to be on the community account, not on people's personal accounts, because like Google collects your IP address. Okay. And you can't actually turn that off. So
so it goes.
mm-hmm. I mean, SurveyMonkey does the same, but that's a SurveyMonkey account owned by the CNCF.
Yeah, so, which is why we also want to do this on a community account.
Yep.
Who gets that information is also important, since groups kind of have rules for these kinds of things. Cool. So campaigns in progress. We'll go over the notes here first, and then we'll hop into our table of active action items. So the first thing is the tweet drafts for the help wanted section in the annual community report. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. That's very, very important. And I think, Deba, you added this in because you were going to create a doc for us to do this in based on how we did it last time.
Yeah, actually, I have created the draft. I just tried to write 2 of the tweets from the information, and I've also created a PR. We could merge it today itself regarding the SIG API help wanted. And similarly, we have to go on doing a few of those, and even Pritish is, I think, helping with some of those, and yeah, I think he has done a few also. So yeah, it's just like the work is check the draft, see how many tweets each SIG needs, and then put a PR of each SIG. Like we could have a tweet each day if you get a PR, like if you get a certain number of PR. So each PR, if most, every day we get a single tweet regarding this help wanted section. So that's the update. I think it will take a week or 2 to get everything out. And some of the tweets might be requiring to send in, in the form of threads. So I don't think that will be possible through the bot. So it has to be done manually like we did last year. So yeah, we'll identify that part. So yes.
So we'll try to do a tweet every day.
Yeah.
And that is a call for everyone. Do you have kind of laid out in here? It looks like you have laid out each different SIG, so folks could go ahead and claim those. So you know what exactly you need to do. That makes sense?
Yeah, related to tweeting, by the way, we're just waiting for steering to approve the funding for buffer, which they will as soon as they pay attention to the issue.
Yay.
So
I need to go and ping them in their steering channel.
So by next week we should have a buffer account. Well, CNCF needs to actually put the credit card down, which could take, a week.
And within the next couple of weeks.
Within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a buffer account for scheduled tweets.
Yay. Cool. So everyone feel comfortable with that work item to do for everybody?
Yeah, anyone feels like they need a few PRs in Kubernetes, so that's the best opportunity you could have.
Yeah.
And raise a PR with a tweet.
If anyone doesn't have org membership yet, you do need a few PRs to point to for that.
Yes.
Also, if you don't have org membership yet and you want to make sure that you're going for that and you want some help, please let us know. We are more than happy to help guide you into account membership or org membership. Okay.
Google Docs documents link somewhere?
Yeah, in the docs.
Oh yeah, I should put it in the chat too.
Yeah. No, it's in the doc. Yeah, I just saw it. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, because I had that as you mentioned that suggestions there in HackMD that I will some of them at least I will try to move.
By the way, there is also a call for new membership coordinators. So those who are interested, they can follow from the Google mailing list. Here's the email.
Oh, you found the form for signing up for the co-chair and tech lead positions for SIG ContribEx?
No, call for the new membership coordinators. They will be helping with bringing in new contributors and getting them the membership of Kubernetes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love how a lot of you folks are involved with the mentoring program too. Deba, did you
I
have
think this
something
one
to say on that?
is for like GitHub management stuff or something. I think there is like this not given
those
to...
who have been contributing a lot in the Kubernetes, they can apply.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool. I don't, that email doesn't seem to load for me, so I must not be in some mailing list for that.
Yeah, same here.
That's a good thing to call out. I'm gonna go ahead and call that out. There's a role open and org membership coordinator. Awesome. And the next thing, I think Josh, you put this in because we discussed that at the other meeting. Migration of all things marketing to comms, changing the name of our group from upstream marketing to contributor comms.
But we discussed this on Wednesday. At the time, you didn't know what the timing was going to be.
Yep.
And I'm checking again to see whether or not you know at this point what the timing is going to be. The and the reason, by the way, is that we have a whole bunch of links to fix. So like I'm sitting on a bunch of PRs and I don't want to merge them until I know that other stuff has been moved.
Right. And Chris, this is one of the things, by the way, that I was talking with Chris about over the last couple of weeks. The issue that's linked in the notes with regard to this item is the one that Chris started for us on this renaming. And 2 weeks ago, he went through and put in instructions for the rest of what needs to happen with that one. And that's pretty much his last remaining action item that he was working on. So what I wanted to do was go over this before this meeting, but I didn't. So I'll do a brief look over it now. This will need to be broken up into 4 different PRs. Multiple mentions.
Okay, so no
Info.
updates on schedule at this point.
Yeah.
Related to that, by the way, if somebody was interested in becoming a reviewer and eventually approver for the contributor site, we have plenty of opportunities. Because right
Awesome.
now it's pretty much me and Tim.
Hey, I would like to sign up for that. How do we do that? Pretty much we have every month a PR on that Meet Our Contributors blog series.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much do it asynchronously. So let's continue this on
Like,
You got a couple other
on
interested
Slack.
folks too.
Yeah, on Slack.
Yeah.
And and pretty much what it's going to mean is picking up items that have been opened against contributor site and giving them a review. A lot of what we do, honestly, is copy editing. Because people submit a lot of things that are good content, but need help in terms of punctuation and grammar, etc. And links.
Avinash and Pratish are also interested per the chat.
Okay.
So you've got quite a group.
me too. So
talk-
basically we have to, the thing is we have to review the articles, or are we talking about maintaining the site?
Well, that would also help because there's a lot of work to be done on the contributor site. Because it's just been me and Tim, mostly what we've just been doing is submitted blog posts and pages and just editing those to make them, well written and clean. But yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff to be done. For example, one of the things that's on my list and I need to create an issue for, in case somebody else wants to pick it up, is to rearrange how we have the contributor summit on the contributor site. Because right now it's not dated, which means we have to go through this annoying archival process. And the answer is to have the contributor summits in there by date, and then we don't have to move stuff around every time the contributor summit finishes. Particularly because Hugo doesn't understand relative links, so so if somebody was interested in that, I could point you to some to-do items.
Yeah, I was interested in more of the development thing rather than reviewing the articles and stuff.
Okay, absolutely. I'll start a thread on Slack on comms Slack, and we can see who can pick stuff up.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
I'll tag you into that on our notes, Josh. So you have the list of everyone who was interested. Folks, could you all add your Slack handles, I guess, just to make sure that that's easy? In the notes. Put some space there for you all to add your Slack handles if they're different from your name. Yeah, and if anyone else is interested, feel free to add that in. And so this is for kubernetes.dev, right?
Correct. It's for Kubernetes.dev.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the other sort of big thing, if we get enough labor behind it, is the gradual process of moving stuff that's buried in the community repo over to the community site, stuff that should be public. So
Awesome. That'll be really helpful work for the community if you all are able to get involved with that. Awesome. All right. And with that, we're ready to move into our table, unless there's anything else folks want to bring up before we do that. Sounds good. All right. First one, Hina, you already created our team in GitHub, which people can actually use to let us know that we have things that we need to look at in GitHub. And your next item was to update the K community issues template to make sure that it does alert the whole team when something is created for the marketing team, which
Yes.
also we probably need to update.
I was in Greece, so I really wanted to do it, but then I was like, I could eat tzatziki by the beach, and unfortunately,
That's a-okay. Cool. So no updates on this, right? Just you'll be getting back on that this week. Cool. And you know where to
I'll be
find us
back
if you have.
Yes, the new Slack channel, correct?
Yes. Speaking of which, updates. This is what happens when your meetings at 8 a.m. on Fridays. As I hope most of you know, if you don't know, please join. There is a Slack channel now in the Kubernetes Slack for our group. It is SIG ContribEx comms. Oh, which, by the way, Bob updated this morning and said that the funding request has been filed with a ticket number for our request for buffer. So there's some more information on that in there, which is very nice. And Hina joined that group this morning, which is lovely. I've been trying to like ping people as I remember to. Yeah. Good. I feel like I should grab the, can I copy? Yes, I can copy the name. Yay. I'm gonna put that, oh, yay, Hina, you already got it. Thank you. Yeah, so the name of our channel is now in the Updates Big Wins section of our doc. If you haven't joined that, please do. Last week, since we failed to have a meeting because I didn't wake up in time, sorry about that. We kind of had an asynchronous meeting on that channel, which is a great example of one of the reasons that it's really nice that we have this channel now. We'll be able to do better asynchronous communication across the whole group without having to ping in SIG ContribEx with our ads. And that's kind of easy to miss. So you have a one-stop shop for asynchronous collaboration across our whole group now. Yeah. Thank you, Hina, for adding that into the notes.
Anytime.
Cool. So with that aside, Frederico, the contributor tip tweet, which I was going to help you with like 3 weeks ago, and I have not done anything with, and I apologize.
Yeah, well, it's not up. It's not you that are on the firing line, I think. But yeah, it's still pretty much the same. So the tweet itself, as I mentioned, is ready. It's waiting for the actual approval of the PR that Chris submitted some time ago and is waiting there for
Right.
actions, I think, on his side. There have been some comments and some changes asked by Bob Killen, and I think they need to be acted
Addressed.
upon. And yes, after that, this will go into the contributor site, and then I can link the tweet to the contributor site.
Cool.
So I'm on waiting mode here.
Okay. So the issue that we have in there is an update to the contributor guide. So it's not the one that Chris was working on.
I will put this on the, sorry, it's better. So on the chat. So this is the one that needs to be
Yes.
committed. And then this one will be updated. So the last one is the one.
It's an update to the contributor guide based on what you learned about the merge method squash.
And then,
command.
exactly.
Yeah. Lovely. And so the first one is adding Chris's article on it as an article on the dev site, right?
Yeah.
Adding Chris's article as an article on the dev site. Is there anything in particular you need with the second one? Just waiting for the Chris one to go through?
The second one, well, not really. I think the second one, it just needs someone to approve, because the second one is just a minor update to the guide. It doesn't really change that much. But that being said, the tweet itself, which is the start of this all. So this all started by a tweet about using tilde for the community. So the tweet itself is a different issue that was cancelled because it pointed to a blog site and not inside the Kubernetes blog, and that is what led to the PR, to the first PR. Okay.
But it's also nice because we are now getting more information about this useful contributor tip
exactly, yeah.
in more of our stuff.
I think side effects will be more interesting than the actual initial goal, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, which is a pretty good thing to have happen. Okay, so I'm trying to parse out if there's a specific action item that we can assign in this group to help move this forward.
If the first PR is accepted, I think that would start the process.
Might be worth at least putting a new comment on it.
Yeah.
See if that does anything. Well, we also might need to talk with Chris about that. You might want to.
Just Slack, ping him in Slack. I can also do that, or you, of course.
Yeah, you can go ahead, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and we're assigning Chris an action item while he's moving it. All right, and then the next item is the work on auto-generating blog tweets, which will be totally changed once we have our buffer account. So each time I get to this, I'm just like, buffer. Yeah, there is an issue about it though. I was looking at that this week, which has some additional information about it. But yeah, we'll just wait for buffer on that one. So I'll go ahead and skip it unless folks want to talk about it. The next one is also about scheduling tweets, which is also buffer. So will be fixed by buffer, hopefully. By us learning buffer, which will take a while. So the next thing, Avinash, role description for the events role. You sent me a draft and I sent you back an old PR that I did trying to set up a social media coordinator role like a year ago. And I sent that to you after you'd been sitting with that events role description for like 2 weeks. So I apologize for that. Any updates, Avinash?
It's pretty much same, but I had a few questions about this about the role. So basically, what I was thinking is how would, when we have this role, how would this role, the person allotted this role would know that a particular event is going to occur in future. So whom to approach for that event, or is there something or a calendar where we know that, okay, this event would be occurring at this particular moment, so that we could prepare it. And another thing to that is I'm trying to prepare a Google Docs wherein it would be like a pipeline where everything would be placed with its status. So I'll create a timeline kind of thing so that folks could help out with this role as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I've got a couple links. So one I put in the chat and I'm going to put in the table is the Kubernetes community calendar. So we used to actually go through that calendar in every one of these meetings to see if there were any upcoming events. We haven't done that in quite a while, but that might be a good thing to add as part of this role, to check that calendar for events. And then the other thing I wanted to share with everyone, I sent to Avinash this old PR, which failed because I'm bad at Git. Not because the content was bad or anything, just because totally messed up that pull request. But this is an example of a role handbook. So you can see that it has sections of overview, minimum skills and requirements for the role, expected time investment in the role, general expectations, what you would be doing, and associates overview. If there's a shadow, if you had a shadow for that role, what would they do? So we keep talking about roles. I've never given specific guidance on what a role should look like. We actually have this role handbook inside of our marketing team repo, which hopefully we'll change the name of. So it's in, what is this? Kubernetes community communication marketing team role handbooks is where you can find our role handbooks. So even though we haven't been using roles, we actually do have a few defined in our repo. And this is an example of one that isn't there, but could have been. So any questions about that? Hina, I know we'd been talking about a program manager type role that you might want to define. And I think there was one more that we were discussing. Whatever my role is, Avinash. Okay. Cool. And folks, your input is welcome. If you see a gap or something that we're doing that seems like it should be defined as a role, please discuss that with us so that we can record this stuff, create shadowing programs, make sure people feel like they're owners of something, and generally support the process of continuing on our group.
So I have a question.
Yes.
There's this action item, and then there's one, hold on, my counting. Role description. 2 down.
Yep.
Is this one a baby of 2 down?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
Yeah. Avinash was making active progress on his role description, so we kind of broke it out to call that one out specifically. also the 1 and 2 down was kind of a general placeholder of like, we need to define roles.
Right.
And me and Chris were going to sit together and just figure that out at KubeCon. That didn't happen. So yeah.
We'll get it together.
Speaking of which, I also want to create a role definition for like the meeting manager role, which seems to be what I'm doing. So I'll need to work on that as well. Cool. Let us know if anyone has any questions about roles and defining them. The next item is tweet about feature blogs that came out after the release. So these all came out during KubeCon and they got kind of lost with all the KubeCon stuff. And then I was traveling for a couple of weeks after that. But I started setting up some Git stuff and learning some stuff about Git to try to make myself more familiar. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to do these in Git or just schedule them. I'll probably actually just schedule them, but I keep saying I'll do that and it'll be really quick, but really this time I'll totally do that. So I'm just gonna move on past that. And then the next one is the one we were already talking about with the role coordinator role descriptions. Like I said, if you have any questions, let us know about that. Next thing, update GitHub to contributor comms name. We already discussed that one as well. 6641 is the issue on that. I need to work with Josh on the timing of that. Need to work out on the strategy on the 4 PRs that are needed. And in that issue, which I'll add in the chat as well, in that issue, Chris laid out what exactly those 4 PRs are and a little bit of information about that. So I'm going to assign that to myself to make sure that that gets done. I'll move on to the next one. SIG Docs, SIG Spotlight. So there are actually several SIG Spotlights that I don't think all have tables, table items.
Yeah,
so
storage.
yeah, okay. So maybe I'll make this the SIG Spotlight, like super section. We've got SIG Docs, SIG Storage. We'll like start another one too, Frederica. I think there's one more in this group at least.
Yeah, SIG architecture. There's
SIG
another one that I've briefly, yeah.
And Atarva, you were interested in starting one, but you haven't chosen a group yet?
Yeah, I was quite busy with the announcements, but I will be excited to support
Your voice got kind of garbled there. Couldn't hear you very well.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm a bit tight on schedule, but after 4th of July, I can
Okay.
definitely.
After 4th of July. Sounds good. Cool. So Parniswar and Frederico, any updates on your SIG Spotlights? Frederico, I know you have some, so we can start there.
Yes. So yeah, I've finished the interview process, and I've uploaded my edited copy of it to ACMD, and I've shared a link, and I've shared a link in our channel as well last week. So essentially, it's in that stage of pre-editing before going into a PR. So input obviously appreciated. I have had some already, and I've already added some of the comments that Rishit sent my way. So.
And is that that's for storage? And then
That's for
what stage are
storage,
you
yes.
at with architecture?
No, it's in the architecture. I'm at the very early stage because they asked me to wait until the freeze
Okay.
in order to really start it. So I'm going at it this week, and I should have something depending on their availability, of course. In the case of SIG storage, it was relatively quick because Xinjiang was really quick to address and all the questions, and so it went really smoothly. I don't expect this to be the norm, but I'll give more feedback on the architectural one next week.
Lovely. Could you grab the, oh, you already did. The HackMD link for your SIG storage one. I'll put that in the notes. And then Perniswar, you already had your update in the notes?
I actually added in there.
Oh,
I
lovely.
know as of yesterday evening, the SIGDocs co-chairs filled out the interview form. So the next steps is for the blog to be written out. Yeah.
Sounds good. You all know where to find us if you need any help with writing, reviewing, any of that stuff. All right, I'll move on to the next item. Hashita came in like 2 or 3 months ago or something and asked us for a review on a katakota that she had created. Frederico and Avinash, you were going to look into that. Frederico, I know you did, and Avinash, yes, you did as well.
I have a dash in more than myself, so
Yeah.
I've expressed some general impressions, but then we were stuck with that katakota
Whole thing.
roadmap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I
And-
tested the scenario, and it's not the environment's not available anymore. The scenario is there, but we can't start the environment. So this was not part. So the katakota, the team from O'Reilly moved the scenarios from Kubernetes.io, not this one, to a separate public server that still will be available after June 15th.
Okay.
So it looks like the contributor scenarios would have to be migrated to something like Killer Coda. I remember, I think Deva was looking into that, or someone from this group was looking into that from the Slack channel before.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking into that. It was actually me who started the contributor Katakoda repo initially. So presently we have 2-3 other people like other scenarios as well. That was out of that was not part of upstream Kubernetes, but they want like the user, the end user side of documentation or the tutorials. So I'll curate an issue in Kubernetes community to what's the future, like what do we do, which one do we like to keep, or which one do we discard. And with contributor Katakoda, basically I was planning to moving into different platform, let it be like Killer Coda or Instruct. But yeah, there has to be a lot of people involved in this, especially the tech leads for ContribEx. We have to take the opinion on how do we proceed. So yeah, I'll by next week I'll put an issue, because I saw a lot of issue on Caseless website. Even Tim has made a list of the external parties that wanted help. So I'll also add those things and I'll link to those issues in the ContribEx, and then we can have a thread over it or a Kubernetes like issue discussion on that issue itself.
Cool. So update next week on the plan for what we're doing with Katakoda stuff. Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, I think this has to go through the bi-weekly meeting once, because as I said, like we need to involve tech leads here on what do we do next.
Cool. It's, yeah, you mentioned that this looks like a done AI. It kind of feels that way each time I look at it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no. Our section of it kind of is done, but it's a nice thing for us to keep on here so that we keep track of this Katakoda change that's happening. So it's kind of nice. Next item, annual report, helping with the help wanted stuff. We've got that doc. Make sure that everyone kind of grabs something in there and helps out with writing those tweets. They're very important.
While we are on the tweets, do we tweet out about the announcement phrase or anything related to the shadow, the release process? Sorry.
Oh yes, we are supposed to be much more involved with the release process than we often actually are.
Because yesterday was the announcement phrase, and have we posted? Because I need to check that.
I think we didn't. We were like trying to keep
No.
track of that and then kind of dropped it.
We didn't post. Usually we go with the code phrase one, but announcement phrase, I don't remember last time also, did we post it or not? But yeah, we usually do the code phrase thing. But if we require the announcement also, we could do. But in Twitter, I don't feel need a communication regarding announcement phrase.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
agreed.
true.
So anyone want to take on writing that tweet? Nobody else will.
I can write a tweet if but I
So
don't make a yeah.
Do we need to tweet it out? That's the thing.
Yeah, I think we should. There should be a message in KDev that we can base the tweet on.
And there is.
Cool. So we'll just have to find that message. So Federico,
Yeah, it's the
or
recent
myself.
one. I think it's the dev. The recent message came in the morning today.
Okay.
For
good.
me, it's the morning. Yeah.
We're not too far off from announcing that it is active, at least. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Ray added in the link to the message that we'll base that on. Yep, there it is. Looks good. So Federico, me, someone, whoever would prefer. We want to make sure that that gets done today. So I can do it if we want. Would you like to?
No, it's all the same to me. It's I just stepped forward because the silence was making me uncomfortable more than anything.
Understandable.
So, yeah, but so I can. It's not a problem. I can submit it. But if you prefer to do it, it's perfectly fine. So. Or
If
anyone
you
else.
Could. I would like it if someone else would create the.
I can, but Tarva, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll go with it.
Okay, so so that's perfect. That's
yeah.
done.
So yeah, I was not sure if we had to relate to the Twitter. So yeah. Now we have to do it. So then I'll do it.
Okay. I like to try to do it on the GitHub workflow first because it records things better than if I just do it on Twitter. And if I create the issue to do it through the GitHub workflow, then I'm also the person approving it because I'm the only one left. So that's not great.
That's also one thing.
Yeah.
So we need to get new approvers, right?
Yep. I figure that's kind of part of our defining of roles, setting up shadows, all of that stuff. That is a good kind of role thing that I'm going to put into our role item.
We need new approvers for contributor tweet.
Well, granted, we're getting buffer too, so hopefully that process will be mostly obsolete, but we do want to keep it around. So we do want to train a new approver for that. And I think you were interested in that, right, Atarva? Cool.
Yeah.
So I guess I am the person who can do that. So that is a role that I will help to define and create shadowing processes for. and we'll figure it out. I'm gonna assign that to
Also,
myself.
there is a PR which you could approve Caslin if present regarding the help wanted.
Oh, really? Regarding updating the owners list, or?
No, there's a PR regarding the tweet of SIG API machinery help wanted issue which I created today itself.
Oh, okay. I think I checked. Maybe it was a couple days ago. I need to update that. Alrighty. I'll assign this to myself in the notes. Cool. And then I need to, I guess that PR is just already out there and needs to be approved. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So go approve tweets after this. It is a to-do list item on my actual to-do list. All right, so I'll move on to the next item. Ray, review requested on APAC Meet Our Contributors blog. You already did that. I was gonna get rid of it, but I think that was still like in progress. So I wanted us to talk about the APAC Meet Our Contributors blog. See if that was done.
I reached out to Jess yesterday regarding a few of the left reviews from Joss. Like Joss left few of the reviews which didn't get sorted out. So he said he will take a day or two. Otherwise, he will ask for help with the SIG ContribEx.
Okay. So review completed by Ray is how I'm gonna take this down. And
Yeah, I did that on the HackMD version. Is it a pull request now?
Yeah, it's already a pull request on the contributor site,
Okay,
and I
sounds
think Tim and Joss have already reviewed that, and there are a few issues that needs to be addressed. So yeah.
cool. And then what a beautiful thing. The last thing in our table was creating the new Slack channel, which is done. Yay! All right, so I'll delete that row. Oh no, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Delete row. Alrighty. Do you want to grab the PR link, Deba, if you can find it and add it into the notes so that we have that? So we have the HackMD link in there.
And I'll grab the PR and add the note. I'm just going through.
Sounds good. Oh, Avanish got it. Click on the draw there. All right, so that's it for our table. And we are pretty much at time. So any other last minute items before I turn off the recording?
I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
The Ingress Nginx survey, does that need to be an action item, or was that something that it's in Josh's wheelhouse?
We should make it an action item in the table.
Okay.
Because we should check back next week. Nice thing about the table is that it makes sure that we check on everything in the next week's meeting. So we should check next week that that has been completed. It needs to be completed very soon. Thank you, Hina. Much appreciated.
If that is completed, should we tweet about it?
That is the thing. Yeah. Tweeting about it is what needs to be completed.
And leave it blank until next week. And then whoever makes the tweet will take the action item.
Yeah, I think that's okay. You said that it was almost ready, Josh. Just checking to see if we should assign it to someone right now. In final review, once it's ready, we'll want to promote it. Does anyone want to specifically watch this? Because it's going to be very soon.
You can assign this to me.
Okay. Much appreciated, Avanish.
And I think the timeline was of the next week. I think we had a discussion initially, like starting of next week, there needs to be a communication that needs to go out because the forms are not ready yet.
Right. Sounded kind of like it might be earlier than that, but yeah, he did say next week would be fine, didn't he?
Yeah.
Start, well, also start of next week, I guess, is because this is Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the next few days. Movement needed in the next few days. Look back. When's our next meeting? Actually, it's July 1st is our next meeting. Yeah. Alrighty. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. The folks are welcome to hang out for a couple of minutes if they have any questions or want to discuss anything. Thank you so much for coming today.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.